All right. Anyways, right now we're in the Epic of Gilgamesh. We started this last week. We read roughly 15 pages, and we're just going to pick back up. So if you missed last week and you care enough, go back and watch it. Otherwise, read it yourself. There's a link to this in Discord where we're reading it from. So there is in the Bible study section. You can go to Bible study, find the Epic of Gilgamesh, and then there is a link to the PDF right there. Good old Humbaba came out of his strong house of cedar. Then Enkidu called out, "O Gilgamesh, remember now your boast in Uruk. Forward attack, son of Uruk. There is nothing to fear." When he heard these words, his courage rallied. He answered, "Make haste, close in. If the watchman is there, do not let him escape to the woods, where he will vanish. He has put on the first of his 7 splendors, but not yet the other 6. Let us trap him before he is armed." Like a raging wild bull, he snuffed the ground. The watchman of the woods turned full of threatenings. He cried out. Humbaba came from his strong house of cedar. He nodded his head and shook it, menacing Gilgamesh. And on him he fastened his eyes. Single eye, fastened his eye, the eye of death. Then Gilgamesh called to Shamash, and his tears were flowing. "O glorious Shamash, I have followed the road you commanded, but now if you send no succor, how shall I escape?" Glorious Shamash heard his prayer, and he summoned the great wind, the north wind, the whirlwind, the storm and the icy wind, the tempest and the scorching wind. They came like dragons, like a scorching fire, like a serpent that freezes the ground, a destroying flood, and the lightning's fork. It's a lot of kind of winds. I would wonder, numerologically, I wonder if there's any significance to that. Mikkel and Ghost would definitely know more than me. How many did we have? I guess technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. For numerology people, which is not me. The 8 winds. How is there 8, baby girl? Where do we get that number from? Right as I do all the counting, then they decide to throw a number that I'm not about. We had 5. Like a scorching fire. Those are descriptive words. They're not types of wind. All right, I'm not going
Hey,
down.
Ghost, hey, Ghost. I'm looking at my name. Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Do you think those winds are all the same wind? Or
I don't.
What is wind?
I don't. That's what I'm kind of like getting stuck on right now. I'm not sure, but no.
Because wind means spirit, I guess, kind of like in the Old Testament.
Right, the Hebrew. I don't think they're all one, personally. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have a good theory.
I have no idea.
What I'm now cranky about, though, is that I count 5, and they're saying the 8 winds rose up against Humbaba. So it makes me wonder if they're counting like a dragon, that would be 6, scorching fire 7, and like a serpent would be 8. But this got me a little bit turned around. I'm gonna
honestly, I don't think the number is really important. I think whatever these winds are is more important. Whatever they represent.
You don't think there's any significance to the number?
I mean, there could be, but I don't like at first glance. I don't think so. I understand 4 winds because I've always thought the 4 winds are like the 4 forces in physics, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Can you reread that sentence?
Yes, and I also just threw it in Discord under the book of... Oh, I just put it in the wrong place. I'm going to throw it in Discord under the Epic of Gilgamesh, because I want to look into this later, so it's going to be kind of a note to myself. But yeah, I'll read it right now. So, from the beginning, you find a good place. So, then Gilgamesh called to Shamash, and his tears were flowing. "O glorious Shamash, I have followed the road you commanded, but now if you send no succor, how shall I escape?" Glorious Shamash heard his prayer, and he summoned the great wind, the north wind, the whirlwind, the storm and the icy wind, the tempest and the scorching wind. They came like dragons, like a scorching fire, like a serpent that freezes the heart, a destroying flood, and the lightning's fork. And then it says the 8 winds rose up against Humbaba, which means they're counting like a dragon as a type of wind, or one of these winds, one of these spirits, possibly. Like a scorching fire as another, and then like a serpent that freezes the heart as the eighth. Oh, did you?
I mean, Shamash is a sun god, and the sun sends solar wind, so maybe there's a connection. But like, they're not going to be seeing it that way. But I think there's a reason they're writing it the way they are, and there's a reason that it's Shamash and not like someone else.
I agree. I didn't think about that connection though. Here, I found something. Let's see. It referenced 13 wins. Oh, come on. Was there a second ago? The god Shamash sends 13 winds to blind Humbaba, and he is captured. Humbaba pleads for his life, and Gilgamesh pities him. So this is later. We're not there yet. So maybe we hang tight. However, the four winds, pseudo-deities, the Mesopotamian pseudo-deities, the four winds, are a group of mythical figures in Mesopotamian mythology whose names and functions correspond to four cardinal directions of wind. They were both cardinal concepts used for mapping and understanding geographical features in relation to each other, as well as characters with personality who could serve as antagonistic forces or helpful assistants in myths. I'll put this in Discord too. I'm not sure if this directly relates, but it's good context, if nothing else. But apparently the four winds is an established thing in Mesopotamian literature that I certainly do not remember. The regular wind, the mountain wind, the cloud wind, and the Amorite wind. Each one was geographically correlated. So the regular wind was northwest, the mountain wind was northeast, the cloud wind was southeast, and the Amorite wind was southwest. The wind directions could be used to establish the presence of astrological bodies, orient maps, and direct the layout of cities and home construction, keeping buildings open to wind blowing in and alleviating the heat. These winds, aside from being used for cardinality, were also figures important to mythology and general culture in Mesopotamia. So maybe there's even more to it. But the sun theory is interesting. The solar winds. Okay.
Yeah, whenever I hear wind, I always think of something like that. Or influence. You can use influence to replace wind.
Why do you say that?
Apparently there's 8 winds in Buddhism too.
Yeah, wind is big in Buddhism for sure. What do you say?
I say influence because that's, I mean, in my spirit definition, influence is part of it. I couldn't get into all the details right now because I don't want to bog this podcast down, but like, you know.
Okay.
Because at its core, wind influences. Wind is an invisible thing that can influence, and spirits are invisible things that can influence. Therefore, they share attributes, so they fit into the same category.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually, for sure.
I can't help but see things in categories. It's just how I think.
Well, I think it's healthy because I think that's how a lot of things function.
Yeah, function would be part of it, definitely. Like, what does a thing do? And if it shares that if it shares that attribute with something else, then they fit in the same category.
Right. No, I think that's
they can be used interchangeably when speaking about something with metaphors.
Right. No, I really like that. That's really interesting. Yeah. Wind is definitely an influential thing. And the relation to spirit is, that's something for sure. Now I'm reeling.
The spirit has to have an invisible aspect to it. Otherwise, it's not a spirit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of relations there. As I'm sure you know, but it's one of those things I've never really thought that much about. But yeah, each one has a number of characteristics that kind of align with the other. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I think these are either some kind of decree from some type of being or distractions or influences for a given purpose. I don't know what the end is because it's been like a million years since I've read this, but
And yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Now that's going to be on at the top of my mind. Because yeah, there's definitely more. There's more wind, and now I'm glad you said all that. Yeah, that adds a really good perspective. Because I know we get more into it as we get towards the end. The 14
So
winds.
one quick example, like an icy wind, would be like when someone tells you something that sends chills down your spine, you could call that an icy wind or a cold spirit or whatever.
Mm,
But it's just words that makes you feel a certain way.
right.
And a whirlwind would be like when a lot's going on in your life or something.
It could be like someone telling you something that turns your whole world upside down or changes the way you believe about something or
Yeah.
makes you feel chaotic.
Right. Disorienting. Yeah. Huh. Hmm. Yeah, because you had the great
Anyways,
wind.
just a thought.
No, it's a good thought. Great wind, north wind, whirlwind, icy wind, tempest, and scorching wind. Came like dragons. This is gonna bug the hell out of me, but they're counting all these too. Came like dragons, like scorching fire, like a serpent that freezes the heart. Which kind of, I mean, they're descriptions of the types of wind, though. Scorching, we had tempest and scorching, and then freezes the heart. You had the storm and the icy wind.
What do we say when someone does a good roast on someone? We say burn.
Burned, yeah.
It's just words.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we get to the next references. I'm glad you pointed all that out. There's such is icy wind going outside right now. It's cold. There's like 20 something here today. And I'm outside half the day. It's cold, man. Okay. So the 8 winds rose up against Humbaba. They beat against his eyes. He was gripped, unable to go forward or back. Gilgamesh shouted, "By the life of Ninsun, my mother, and divine Lugulbanda, my father, Lugulbanda, in the country of the living, in this land, I have discovered your dwelling. My weak arms and my small weapons I have brought to this land against you, and now I will enter your house." Burned crispy. So he felled the first cedar, and they cut the branches and laid them at the foot of the mountain. At the first stroke, Humbaba blazed out, but still they advanced. They felled 7 cedars and cut and bound the branches and laid them at the foot of the mountain. And 7 times Humbaba loosed his glory on them. As the 7th blaze died out, they reached his lair. He slapped his thigh in scorn. He approached like a noble wild bull roped on the mountain, a warrior whose elbows are bound together. The tears started to his eyes, and he was pale. "Gilgamesh, let me speak. I have never known a mother, no, nor a father who reared me. I was born of the mountain. He reared me, and Enlil made me the keeper of this forest. Let me go free, Gilgamesh, and I will be your servant. You shall be my lord. All the trees of the forest that I tended on the mountain shall be yours. I will cut them down and build you a palace." He took him by the hand and led him to his house, so that the heart of Gilgamesh was moved with compassion. He swore by the heavenly life, by the earthly life, by the underworld itself. "O Enkidu, should not the snared bird return to its nest and the captive man return to his mother's arms?" Enkidu answered, "The strongest of men will fall to fate if he has no judgment. Namtar, the evil fate that knows no distinction between men, will devour him. If the snared bird returns to its nest, if the captive man returns to his mother's arms, then you, my friend, will never return to the city where the mother is waiting who gave you birth. He will bar the mountain road against you and make the pathways impossible." Humbaba said, "Enkidu, what you have spoken is evil. You, a hireling, dependent for your bread. In envy and for fear of rival, you have spoken evil words." Enkidu said, "Do not listen, Gilgamesh. This Humbaba must die. Kill Humbaba first and his servants after." But Gilgamesh said, If we touch him, the blaze and the glory of light will be put out in confusion. The glory and glamour will vanish. Its rays will be quenched. Enkidu said to Gilgamesh, "Not so, my friend. First entrap the bird, and where shall the chicks run then? Afterward, we can search out the glory and the glamour when the chicks run distracted through the grass." A lot of imagery there. Gilgamesh listened to the word of his companion. He took the axe in his hand. He drew the sword from his belt, and he struck Humbaba with a thrust of the sword to the neck. And Enkidu, his comrade, struck the second blow. At the third blow, Humbaba fell. Then there followed confusion, for this was the guardian of the forest whom they had felled to the ground. For as far as 2 leagues of cedars shivered when Enkidu felled the watchers of the forest, he at whose voice Hermon and Lebanon used to tremble. Now the mountains were moved and all the hills, for the guardian of the forest was killed. They attacked the cedars. The 7 splendors of Humbaba were extinguished. The 7 splendors. So they pressed on into the forest, bearing the sword of 8 talents. They uncovered the sacred dwelling of the Anunnaki. And while Gilgamesh felled the first of the trees of the forest, Enkidu cleared their roots as far as the banks of Euphrates. They set Humbaba before the gods, before Enlil. They kissed the ground and dropped their shroud and set the head before him. When he saw the head of Humbaba, Enlil raged at them. "Why did you do this thing? From henceforth, may the fire be on your faces. May it eat the bread that you eat. May it drink where you drink." Then Enlil took again the blaze and the 7 splendors that had been Humbaba's. He gave the first to the river. He gave to the lion, to the stone of excretion, to the mountain, and to the dreaded daughter of the queen of hell. O Gilgamesh, king and conqueror of the dreadful blaze, wild bull who plunders the mountain, who crosses the sea, glory to him. And from the brave, the greater glory is Enki's. Ishtar and Gilgamesh and the death of Enkidu. Gilgamesh washed out his long locks and cleaned his weapons. He flung back his hair from his shoulders. He threw off his stained clothes and changed them for new. He put on his royal robes and made them fast. When Gilgamesh had put on the crown, glorious Ishtar lifted her eyes, seeing the beauty of Gilgamesh. She said, "Come to me, Gilgamesh, and be my bridegroom. Grant me seed of your body. Let me be your bride, and you shall be my husband. I will harness for you a chariot of lapis lazuli and of gold, with wheels of gold and horns of copper, and you shall have mighty demons of the storm for draft mules. When you enter our house in the fragrance of cedar wood, threshold and throne will kiss your feet. Kings, rulers, and princes will bow down before you. They shall bring you tribute from the mountains and the plain. Your ewes shall drop twins, and your goats triplets. Your pack ass shall outrun mules." I'm a child. Reading pack ass just made me chuckle in my head. "Your pack ass shall outrun mules. Your oxen shall have no rivals, and your chariot horses shall be famous far off for their swiftness." Sounds like mechanical technological metaphors to me. It sounded like a few things. Yeah. And I, for whatever reason, and I'm not this guy, a lot of the numbers keep shouting to me. There's a lot of repetition in the numbers. But it could definitely be a coincidence. But I'm going to look later, because for whatever reason, I'm curious with this text. Gilgamesh opened his mouth and answered, "Glorious Ishtar, if I take you in marriage, what gifts can I give in return? With ointments and clothing for your body, I would gladly give you bread and all sorts of food fit for a god. I would give you wine to drink fit for a queen. I would pour out barley to stuff your granary. But as for making you my wife, that I will not. How would it go with me? Your lovers have found you like a brazier, which smolders in the cold. A back door which keeps out neither squall of wind nor storm. Dang. A castle which crushes the garrison. Pitch that blackens the bearer. a water skin that shafts the carrier, a stone which falls from the parapet, a battering ram turned from the enemy, a sandal that trips the wearer. Dang. Which of your lovers did you ever love forever? Which of your lovers did you ever love forever? That's quite the sentence. What shepherd of yours has pleased you for all time? Listen to me while I tell the tale of your lovers. There was Tammuz, the lover of your youth. For him you decreed wailing year after year. You loved the many-colored roller, but still you struck and broke his wing. Now in the grove he sits and cries, copy, copy, my wing, my wing. You have loved the lion, tremendous in strength. 7 pits you dug for him, and 7. And you have loved the stallion, magnificent in battle. And for him you have decreed whip and spur and a thong, to gallop 7 leagues by force, and to muddy the water before he drinks. And for his mother, Celila, Lamentations. You have loved the shepherd of the flock. He made meal cake for you day after day. He killed, I don't want to say that. He made no longer living children for your sake. You struck and turned him into a wolf. Now his own herd boys chase him away. His own hounds worry his flanks. And did you not love Ishulana, the gardener of your father's palm grove? He brought you baskets filled with dates without end. Every day he loaded your table. Then you turned your eyes on him and said, Dearest Ishulana, come here to me. Let us enjoy your manhood. Come forward and take me. I am yours. Ishulana answered, What are you asking from me? My mother has baked and I have eaten. Why should I come to such as you for food that is tainted and rotten? This is rough. For when a screen of rushes sufficient protection, sufficient protection from frosts. But when you had heard his answer, you struck him. He was changed to a blind mole deep in the earth, one whose desire is always beyond his reach. And if you and I should be lovers, should not I be served in the same fashion as all these others whom you love? Damn. Gilgamesh was the top G. That's wild. What a response to like, hey, baby, let's get married. He's like, I'm just going to blast you repeatedly with what a terrible, terrible person you are, and let you know why we will not be married. Brutal. Brutal. When Ishtar heard this, she fell into a bitter rage, shocking considering her history. She went up to high heaven. Her tears poured down in front of her father Anu and Antum, her mother. She said, My father, Gilgamesh, has heaped insults on me. He has told over all my abominable behaviors, my foul and hideous acts. Anu opened his mouth and said, Are you a father of gods? Do not you quarrel with Gilgamesh the king? So now he has related your abominable behavior, your foul and hideous acts. Ishtar opened her mouth and said, My father, give me the bull of heaven to destroy Gilgamesh. Fill Gilgamesh, I say, with arrogance to his destruction. But if you refuse to give me the bull of heaven, I will break in the doors of hell and smash the bolts. There will be confusion of people those above with those from the lower depths. I shall bring up the dead to eat food like the living, and the hosts of dead will outnumber the living. Anu said to great Ishtar, If I do what you desire, there will be 7 years of drought throughout Uruk, when corn will be seedless husks. Have you saved grain enough for the people and grass for the cattle? Ishtar replied, I have saved grain for the people, grass for the cattle. For 7 years of seedless husks, there is grain and there is grass enough. So she's like, no problem. No problem. Willing to pay the price. When Anu heard that Ishtar had said he gave her the bull of heaven to lead, when Anu heard that Ishtar said she had gave her the bull of heaven to lead by the halter down to Uruk, this is a weird sentence. When they reached the gates of Uruk, the bull went to the river. With his first snort, cracks open in the earth, and 100 young men fell down to death. When his second snort cracks, this is so weird. When his second snort cracks opened, the 200 fell down to death. With his third snort cracks open, Enkidu doubled over but instantly recovered. He dodged aside and leapt on the bull and seized it by the horns. The bull of heaven foamed in his face. It brushed him with the thick of its tail. Enkidu cried to Gilgamesh, "My friend, we boasted that we would leave enduring names behind us. Now thrust in your sword between the nape and the horns." So Gilgamesh followed the bull. He seized the thick of its tail. He thrust the sword between the nape and the horns and slew the bull. When they had killed the bull of heaven, they cut out its heart and gave it to Shamash. And the brothers rested. But Ishtar rose tip and mounted the great wall of Uruk. She sprang onto the tower and uttered a curse. "Woe to Gilgamesh, for he has scorned me in killing the bull of heaven." When Enkidu heard these words, he tore out the bull's right thigh and tossed it in her face, saying, "If I could lay my hands on you, it is this I should do: to lash the entrails to your side." Wild. Then Ishtar called together her people, the dancing and the singing girls, the prostitutes of the temple, the courtesans, the courtesans. Over the thigh of the bull of heaven, she set up lamentations. But Gilgamesh called the smiths and the armorers, all of them together. They admired the immensity of the horns. Joshua says based. Joshua, where are you from? Did you wander in here tonight? If you did, you should pop in Discord with us. That is the correct response, though. I agree with that. So far, this has been quite, as the kids would say, based. And now, that quick, I just lost my place. Oh, here we go. Gilgamesh called the smiths and the armorers, all of them together. They admired the immensity of the horns. They were plated with lapis lazuli, 2 fingers thick. They were 30 pounds each in weight, and their capacity in oil was 6 measures, which he gave to his guardian god, Lagulwanda. But he carried the horns into the palace and hung them on the wall. Then they washed their hands in Euphrates. They embraced each other and went away. They drove through the streets of Uruk, where the heroes were gathered to see them. And Gilgamesh called to the singing girls, "Who is most glorious of the heroes? Who is most eminent among men?" Gilgamesh is the most glorious of heroes. Gilgamesh is most eminent among men. And now there was feasting, the celebrations and joy in the palace, till the heroes lay down saying, "Now we will rest for the night." When the daylight came...
Joe, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry, I need to wait.
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious because it was talking about the 7-year drought. Do you remember how long the drought was in Egypt? The one that where Joseph prophesied about the dreams or interpreted the dreams. Sorry.
I believe 7 years, wasn't it? I'm trying to pull it up right now. But yeah, 7 years. Genesis.
Okay, got
4,
it.
yeah,
Curious.
no. That's fun to point out, always. Yeah, you were right on. Joseph told Pharaoh that 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of famine. Genesis 41:28 through 32. The numbers are getting me tonight. I never care about numbers, but I've noted all dimensions of numbers because I want to do some searching and aggregation. I'm curious tonight for whatever reason.
It's weird that it's other cultures and other religions that the numbers are mentioned.
Say the first part again because you
We
were
don't
cutting
wait.
out.
I'm sorry, I'm driving. I said it's just weird that it's the same numbers that are used despite the different cultures or religions or time, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think we pay enough attention to that today. I don't know. Or we probably demonize it.
Yeah, numerology is like a very, very niche thing, I feel like, even within religions at this point. But I agree. You know, across the board, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Sumerian, and Hebrew, a lot of the numbers do coincide. I'm very anti-numerology, but it's hard to not admit that there's a lot of correlation. if you really look into it, for sure.
Are you anti-numerology because of like there's a hyper focus on it, or because it's been demonized, or it's just your own personal?
It's because, and this is totally terrible thinking, and I'm aware of it. It's because in seminary, it was really heavy. They put a lot of significance on numbers, and a lot of the time I feel like they were just, but there are some ways that I get it. I get what you're doing, because like from a logical perspective, what you're saying is just true. So then the significance and the spiritual side of it, whatever, we can argue about that, but I logically get what you're saying because it's true numerically. But then there were a lot of cases where I feel like they were really stretching. Like, you're doing a lot to make that work out for you. And I think it just put a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest. So it's been several years of me trying to kind of get out of this zone. Like when we watched the movies on Saturday, the 2030, the ones that Ghost gave us, the end times thing, there was a lot of numerology in that. And it was like a practice I was doing of like, be open, listen to it, take it in logically for what it is. And a lot of that stuff lined up, and a lot of it was really interesting. So I just have a weird personal bias from past experience that I'm working on. I'm a work in progress on it.
Well, no, and I get that. I think for me, I'm okay with numerology. The issue that I have is what's that word? Is it the gematria? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do, yeah.
Gematria.
That's it. Whatever it is, Go said. That's the one I kind of have beef with, where there's kind of like a whole stretch of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I struggle to a degree.
There's certainly different kinds of numerology. There's like pattern recognition numerology, metaphorical, and then there's the stuff that people just apply their own weird ideas to and claim that it's 100% airtight.
You gotta do math, like you gotta add shit and times it by 7 and all of that and stand on your forehead. That's when I got like.
But it's just like anything else, and that's the thing that I'm trying to work out of. Is it's just like anything else where there's probably a lot of truth at the core, and it's just been completely emphasized and turned into kind of a theatrical thing. It's like anything else, man. It's like a small truth that gets blown up as this wild, insane person conspiracy. But then when you boil it down, you're like, oh, like that thing was true. People just made it this way over the top thing and expanded it and made it bigger and added to it. But there's a kernel of truth to it. I believe there's significance in the numbers. I think, like everything else, we just sometimes take it too far and turn it into something it's not.
Yeah, I also kind of wonder if there's more books that are missing too. Of course, there's more books that are missing that maybe have a better explanation as to what the numbers mean, and maybe it's just like, hidden knowledge that we don't really have.
Or even if not, it would be more data. So we'd have more data points. Yeah. And maybe it would make some things that we have 70% confidence in, maybe we'd have 93% confidence. Like, it could be significant for sure. Yeah. I think a lot of the books that are missing cause a lot of problems. And I think numerology it's likely just one of them. Patricia said the numerology I was into in the New Age was like, if you are seeing 1111 everywhere, it means you're strong, connected to your path. I thought 1111 was when you were allowed to make a wish every night. That's what some girl told me.
That too.
Yeah, it means I know my
different meanings. It gets weird.
It does, yeah. I knew
something funny. I want to say something funny. I read when there was that earthquake today in California. Somebody in the comments was saying, "Well, I looked up. It happened at 10:44 a.m. and I looked up 10:44 in the Hebrew Concordance, and God is giving us a message." They said.
Yeah, see that?
It was. See, people do that, and I laugh, and it's just nuts.
That's what gets me,
in my opinion.
That's the stuff right there that makes me have a hard time with it. Not everything means something. I don't think, but I'm cynical as hell. But I don't think everything means something. But I think I think that causes people like me to become blind to the things that might mean something.
Right.
So I'm trying to work out of that. It's a character flaw that I am well aware of, because I think I'm totally missing things because of that. I think a lot of
Mine
the way
is
that
the
I think
opposite.
you see too much stuff.
Like I tend to put too much meaning into everything.
Okay.
I'm trying to like find balance.
Right. There's balance. Exactly. I think a lot of the restrictive thing, why I love Ghost so much and have so much respect for him specifically, is because the way he thinks, the way I think is like capped, and the way he expands and operates like that, my brain functions that way, but I've completely cut it off. So a lot of the stuff he brings up, I can connect with it because I understand him and like I trust the things he says, and he just like speaks in a way that I learn well from. And it opens up that part that I've like for years shut off. And I'm like, wow, it really makes me think. It makes me realize just how closed off I am on a lot of things, which is totally, totally not healthy. There are two primary ways. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
I was just going to read something. Go ahead.
I think part of the issue that I have with like the numbers stuff is I come from like a strong Pentecostal background. And for me, I feel like they definitely overdid it, right? And saw too much into it, kind of like what I think Patricia was saying. But I will say there was like maybe 2 or 3 times where there was like fruit from that, or evidence, I guess, where like there were certain things that were shown or that I noticed over and over again, and then it actually ended up happening. So then I feel like, okay, it sounded crazy and it seems a bit much, but it actually wasn't, because it happened. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And so you either kind of give into it and it helps open you up to new ones. But I think at the end of the day, it's what Patricia said. Like, you have to find a balance of not seeing too much, but not completely closing off to everything, because that's just as bad.
Yeah.
And it's very hard when it's all extremely subjective. Not all.
Yes.
When a lot of it is subjective, or at least a lot of it is very difficult, if not impossible, to interpret. I think that's what makes it hard. You end up in the in-between land.
For sure. What numbers did Ghost put up?
Yeah, so I was just looking. So first, he said there are 2 primary ways information gets corrupted: degradation and embellishment. So a core truth can either be degraded and forgotten over time, or embellished and conflated over time. Absolute glorious way to say that. Unless someone can clearly reason out why numbers have inherent meaning, I disregard it. Yeah, that's where I am. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. I don't feel like it means anything. I think he's being sarcastic. That's my guess.
Don't say the numbers. Don't use
Of course
them.
he is.
Oh, you're not supposed to say those numbers? Is that a thing?
Curse the chat.
Oh, is that a curse? I just cursed everybody.
It's from Lost.
Oh my god. I'm trying to get Kat to watch that. The classic. Was
There's
that the
5 people on here. What does that mean?
Was that like the oh my god. Was that like the vault code or whatever? Was that the number on the hatch?
It was Hurley's numbers that he played the lottery. They're like magic.
And they're on that chat.
Right. That's right. They
And then
are.
the numbers you had to type in the computer.
Yeah, that's right. I watched that like when it came out. I don't think I've seen it since. And that is an old show.
Y'all are gonna have to rewatch it.
Oh, for sure. Kat's never seen it, but I've brought it up a few times. Like, we need to give it I just, from memory, I feel like there were some portions of it that were very slow, but it's worth it. It was an interesting show.
Ghost that
Yeah,
3.
season 3 slowed down a little bit. All right, this isn't a Lost podcast, but
This is the last thing I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I think that 3-body problem thing, whatever that we were all watching like a couple months ago, I think like the next season is supposed to come out. FYI.
We started watching that too. I don't remember if we
Pretty
got
soon.
Is it?
Did you see that too? That there's supposed to be a new season coming out?
No, but
someone on Facebook was talking about it, but
when does it come out? You know?
No, I just saw
I don't believe it. I think it's gonna come out like in 6 months.
Oh.
What show is that?
I guess we'll see. 3-body
Also-
problem.
Yeah, I'll put it like on the Patricia. I'll tag you in the entertainment thingy.
It was
Okay.
good. It was an interesting show. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
12-5. Do you know what that means? Nothing. The answer is nothing. What time is it? 45. Okay, we can read a little bit more. Where are we at? 20. Okay. All right, I'm gonna read. Rudely interrupt me for whatever reason. Allegedly, alleged. All right. When the daylight came, Enkidu got up and cried to Gilgamesh, "Oh, my brother, such a dream I had last night. Anu, Enlil, Ea, and heavenly Shamash took counsel together, and Anu said to Enlil, because they have killed the bull of heaven, and because they have killed Humbaba, who guarded the cedar mountain, one of the two must die." Then glorious Shamash answered the hero Enlil, "It was by your command they killed the bull of heaven and killed Humbaba, and must Enkidu die, although innocent. Although he's innocent, must he die." In Europe, it's 5-12. Enlil flung around in rage at glorious Shamash. "You dare to say this, you who went about with them every day like one of themselves." So Enkidu lay stretched out before Gilgamesh. His tears ran down in streams as he said to Gilgamesh, "Oh, my brother, so dear as you are to me, brother, yet they will take me from you." Again he said, "I must sit down on the threshold of the dead, and never again will I see my dear brother with my eyes." While Enkidu lay alone in his sickness, he cursed the gate as though it was living flesh. "You, there, wood of the gate, dull and insensible, witless. I searched for you over 20 leagues until I saw the towering cedar. There is no wood like you in our land. 72 cubits high and 24 wide. The pivot and the ferrule, and the jambs are perfect. A master craftsman from Nippur has made you. But oh, if I had known the conclusion, if I had known that this was all the good that would come of it, I would have raised the axe and split you into little pieces." What is happening right now? "And set up here a gate of wattle instead. Ah, if only some future king had brought you here, or some god had fashioned you. Let him obliterate my name and write his own, and the curse fall on him instead of Enkidu." With the first brightening of dawn, Enkidu raised his head and wept before the sun god. In the brilliance of the sunlight, his tears streamed down. "Sun god, I beseech you, about that vile trapper, that trapper of nothing because of whom I was to catch less than my comrade. Let him catch least. Make his game scarce, make him feeble, taking the smaller of every share. Let his quarry escape from his nets." When he had cursed the trapper to his heart's content, he turned on the harlot. He was roused to curse her also. "As for you, woman, with a great curse I curse you." With a great curse I curse you. "I will promise you a destiny to all eternity. My curse shall come on you soon and sudden. You shall be without a roof for your commerce. For you shall not keep house with other girls in the tavern, but do your business in places fouled by vomit of drunkards. Your hire will be potter's earth. Your thievings will be flung into the hovel. You will sit at the crossroads in the dusk of the potter's quarter. You will make your bed on the dunghill at night, and by day take your stand in the wall's shadow." Totally gross. "Brambles and thorns will tear your feet. The drunk and the dry will strike your cheek and your mouth with ache. Let you be stripped of your purple dyes, for I too, once in the wilderness with my wife, had all the treasures I wished." When Shamash heard the words of Enkidu, he called to him from heaven, "Enkidu, why are you cursing the woman, the mistress who taught you to eat bread fit for gods and drink wine of kings? She who put upon you a magnificent garment, did she not give you glorious Gilgamesh for your companion? And has not Gilgamesh, your own brother, made you rest a royal bed and recline on a couch at his left hand? He has made the princess of the earth kiss your feet, and now all the people of Uruk lament and wail over you. When you are dead, he will let his hair grow long for your sake, mourning. He will wear a lion's pelt and wander through the desert." When Enkidu heard glorious Shamash, his angry heart grew quiet. He called back the curse and said, "Woman, I promise you another destiny. The mouth which cursed you shall bless you. Kings, princes, and nobles shall adore you. On your account, a man, though 12 miles off, will clap his hand to his thigh, and his hair will twitch." I'm sorry, I was like picturing that. A man, though 12 miles off, will clap his hand to his thigh, and his hair will twitch. For you, he will undo his belt and open and open his treasure, and you shall have your desire. Lapis, lazuli, gold, and carnelian from the heap in the treasury. A ring for your hand and a robe shall be yours. The priest will lead you into the presence of gods. On your account, a wife, a mother of 7, was forsaken. There's your 7 again. Enkidu slept alone in his sickness. In bitterness of spirit, he poured out his heart to his friend. It was I who cut down the cedar, I who leveled the forest, I who slew Humbaba, and now see what has become of me. Listen, my friend. This is the dream I dreamed last night. The heavens roared and the earth rumbled back an answer. Between them stood I, before an awful being, the sober-faced man-bird. He had directed on me his purpose. His was a vampire face, his foot was a lion's foot, his hand was an eagle's talon. He fell on me and his claws were in my hair. He held me fast and I smothered. He then transformed me so that my arms became wings covered by feathers. He turned his stare towards me, and he led me away to the palace of Irkala, the queen of darkness, to the house from which none who enters ever returns, down the road from which there is no coming back. There is the house whose people sit in darkness. Dust is their food and clay is their meat. They are clothed like birds with wings for covering. They see no light. They sit in darkness. I entered the house of dusk. I entered the house of dust, and I saw the kings of the earth, their crowns put away forever. Rulers and princes, all of those who wore kingly crowns and ruled the world in the days of old. They who had stood in the place of the gods like Anu and Enlil stood now like servants to fetch baked meats in the house of dust, to carry cooked meat and cold water from the water skin. In the house of dust which I entered were high priests and acolytes.
The house of dust.
What? Dust. D-U-S-T.
Interesting.
Yeah, this weird imagery. I know that 5 means the law, Pia said. David said, yikes. House of Dust is a metaphor for the simulation we're in.
I thought 10 meant the law.
Sounds quite fitting. Let me see.
Yeah, it sounds like this world.
One sec. There was something here.
I got to see like an animated Cliff Notes version of this or something.
There are actually some good, because I had my kid watch some. There are good those animated videos on YouTube where they explain history and stuff. There's some good ones.
Is it the TED Ed or I don't know. My kid watches them.
But like a similar it's animated, it's for adults, but like it's tame enough for a child to be able to follow it.
After school?
No.
After school is cool. Yeah, I think we follow a lot of the same channels though.
Not that
and
one,
it's
but yeah, that's good stuff.
Don't.
So the House of Dust in the Epic of Gilgamesh refers to the ancient Mesopotamian concept of the underworld, which seems kind of obvious. A gloomy and desolate realm where the dead reside. The concept appears in the dead are dressed in feathers like birds. They consume dust and clay as sustenance. All social distinctions from life vanish, and kings, priests, and commoners exist together, so classness dies. The House of Dust is symbolic of the inevitability and equality of death, emphasizing the somber view of the afterlife in ancient Mesopotamian culture. The vision deeply affects both Enkidu and Gilgamesh, fueling Gilgamesh's fear of mortality and his quest for immortality. That was a good synopsis. Because it's used in It's used in the other story too. I'm not recalling the name. Shoot, I'll find it and put it in Discord. There's another Mesopotamian text where the same illustration is used, the same metaphor is used. The universe, they don't have vacuum cleaners in Sheol. Okay, we read this.
Oh,
What's that?
For the dust?
Yeah, for the unending dust. Hell is actually just a dirty house, which sounds like hell.
Yeah. That would drive your OCD nuts.
Yeah, I would die again.
Is that better? Did you get your ashwagandha? Not ashwagandha, but whatever the hell it's
Ashwagandha. No, I have done. I have tea. That's about as good as it gets for me.
They have.
Does it have hibiscus?
What?
What?
Patricia, what'd you say?
Is it hibiscus?
No, it's
Nah, girl, they ain't gonna do nothing.
It's passion. Tazo.
Passion fruit? Oh,
I don't know if
Joe,
it's
that's not gonna do nothing.
passion fruit. It's if
You know what?
if you go to Starbucks, you can spend $9,000 for a cup of it. But it's like sweet passion tea, and all they use is Tazo passion. It's really sweet though. It's good.
Oh.
If you don't like tea because it's bland, it's a good one.
I love tea.
Did
Yes.
it help though? That's my question.
Nothing helps. I am a lost cause.
Okay. There's also St. John's wort tea.
I've had that. Yeah, I've
And
tried
that
everything.
Great one.
Yeah, I've tried it all. We have a cabinet full of just powders of vitamins and supplements. Literally.
There's hibiscus in the passion. I was right.
Oh, is there? Okay, there you go. Well, you're the tea aficionado. We've talked about that before because I think it was you. I'm almost certain it was you. Where we buy tea like in bulk, like you buy a kilo of loose leaf tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Of anything to
Do you
get a
need?
kilo
Are you
of.
trying to remedy something?
No, Rodriguez just knows that I am a broken person and have.
That's so dramatic.
I have obsessive tendencies, but I don't think they're going to go away. My life is manageable. My name's Joe. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and my life has become unmanageable. Now everybody says, "Hi, Joe," and then I tell you my sob story, and we sit in a circle of folding chairs and drink coffee.
And we say thanks for sharing.
Right on. Yes. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for sharing. For anybody who's completely lost, it means you have a healthy life and have never sat in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or NA or Al-Anon or any of those fun things. Gamblers Anonymous. Anonymous is for everything nowadays, man. You know, I'm Video Games Anonymous. It's a wild world out there. Wild world out there. All right. It is 7 o'clock, and I have an extremely early day tomorrow, more than normal, which is hard to believe. But I do. So we're going to cut off here because it's also a good place to cut. So